And hello, everybody. Welcome back to the 20th episode of the Unity or Death podcast. I did plan on doing one from DC, but as we'll get into, DC was a burning dumpster fire on a crashing airplane that hit a train wreck. So it was just a whole thing, but we made it happen. We had events all across the country and the world. We had London and Germany, which was amazing. A bunch of crazy stuff happened. It was beautiful. I want to thank all of y'all that helped fundraise for it, that promoted it, that showed it up. Literally, we came out of nowhere, 3 months before this event, created this, promoted it, and it went great. All things considered, I think if a bunch of stuff didn't go wrong, it'd be even bigger than it did. But the fact that it still happened and it was still as huge as it did, even with everything that went wrong, I'm counting that as a victory. And boy, did it break the fucking internet again. It seems to be what I am best at doing, is breaking the fucking internet. But we're going to chat about it. I have a couple guests with me today. We have Mr. Steve Poikinit from Slow News Day. How you doing, boss? You're muted.
There we go. What's up, Magnus? How's it going, man? I am glad to be with you. Glad to be talking about an event that was conceived in the basement of the basement and back porch of our Airbnb over St. Patrick's Day of this year for the Clovers for Assange event.
Oh yeah. And then we also have Miss Marie, which if you watch any of the videos, she is the best MC, best hype man in the world.
Mom's a good cheerleader.
Right? We got our own little Flavor Flav. It went great. You did an awesome job at it. Yeah. So I guess we can just get right into it of the event itself. Steve can talk about a sister event, but I'll start with you, Marie. How'd you feel about it? What did you think? How was it? Did it live up to expectations? Anything you want to say about it?
To me, I think it was better than I thought it was going to be. I thought the turnout was really great, especially considering all the tax on it. The people that spoke in DC, that was like a mind-blowing lineup. That was really incredible. But also for me, getting to just hang out with everybody and see what they're like, it was very different than seeing everybody online. And I thought it was really, really nice. And people aren't assholes in real life like they are online, which was really nice to see.
That's always the big difference, is everybody talks a big game online, but then in person, we're actually human beings. We're not talking through Twitter, so we act like people. It's great. Yeah. And then Steve, you showed up to the Sacramento event, right, with Kokesh and all of them, and Angela, and I actually they weren't able to join after the event meeting, so I have no idea how Sacramento went at all. So this is the first time I'm going to be hearing about it as well. So,
okay. Well, let me say that both Angela and Adam just crushed it. They independently of each other gave two of the better speeches I've heard this year. And it was hot. It was hot in Sacramento. In fact, I was trying to live stream. I had to use my cell phone as a hotspot, so I had that going, and I was trying to use it as a second camera, and it was so hot that it cooked my phone. I had to kill the camera and wait 10 minutes and then restart the live stream with the phone in the shade. But shouts to Ben Weir, who is I believe, secretary of the Libertarian Party of Sacramento, who organized the thing. Shouts to Zach, the Libertarian Cowboy, the country singer. He's rad, dude. I'm gonna have him on the show. He's fucking hilarious.
Excited.
Dude, good times. It was weird. So here's what's weird, and here's what I find incredibly frustrating in this moment, and that is it was almost an entirely organized and attended Libertarian Party event, and that it's a little disappointing because the quote unquote anti-fascists will pour in by the busload starting today for the event on Saturday. The people who are ostensibly opposed to American imperialism, this kind of fascistic aggression, the kind of fascistic aggression that Angela and Adam pointed out, and we'll get to that here in a little bit, I hope, in terms of the narrative coming forth from the Biden administration now. About who's a domestic terrorist and who can go eat where and who can go travel where and things like who can go to work where.
Yeah, because that's one thing. That's one thing I kind of heard. And it's funny enough that to the unity message, I stood there, and I'll break down our whole event later. But I stood there, and Max Blumenthal came on, which was a beautiful surprise. But of all these events with all these libertarians and like Scott Horton and stuff like that, nobody had to mention the domestic stuff. But Max Blumenthal did, and Max Blumenthal drew connections from like the war on terror to the war on terror they're trying to start here and everything like that. So Max is the one that did that, not the libertarians. And then I heard that Adam Kokesh did something very similar at your event, and I was like, it's almost like this unity thing I'm so annoying about how we all kind of see what's going on here.
Well, and Angela did too, and so did I can't remember his name. He was the Libertarian candidate for governor or California, or one of them at least. But he came and spoke to in between Angela and Adam. But I mean, everybody was connecting the global war on terror to this now war against a virus and this lunacy of zero COVID. And that's like zero Al Qaeda or zero ISIS. Well, we're funding and training Al Qaeda and ISIS. So what would that tell you?
Right. Because, yes. Scott Horton screams about it all the time that the neocons are trying and failing to be like, we need to stay in Afghanistan because there's ISIS there. And then you boil through all their sources and you dig down in it. It's like, it's like 15 like dudes from India up in the mountains, like up,
Can we
zero
real quick?
ISIS.
I think all of you are with me on this, and Marie, I would love to hear what you have to say about this. But can we just for a moment talk about how idiotic and tone deaf and hyper empirical, like hyper empire focused Tulsi Gabbard's 9/11 tweet was?
Yeah, I'll before I go off, I'll let you speak on it, Marie, because I have a whole bit for this right now.
I mean, I got stuff too, but I would love to hear what Marie has to say.
I think that the part that I didn't really pay that much attention to what she said, other than the fact that she just fucking did a coup in Africa. Like, what was that about? Like, she just literally admitted it. Like, nice secret project there. Okay, that was awkward. So
yeah, just quickly move past that, people.
Yeah, like happy 9/11. We just did a coup in Africa. Like, what the fuck? That was so crazy. So I don't know. I think I don't know how to read that other than she obviously is very pro war on terror.
Yeah, so everybody forgets like we like her because she's anti-regime change war, but she has not learned or refuses to learn, depending on how your perspective of it is, the rest of it. And my whole bit that I have is Dave Smith addressed this as well on his show today, which was so good. Of just breaking down that it's been 20 years and we've had people like Scott Horton, we've had people like Max, we've had people like Medea Benjamin, Caitlin Johnstone, all these people, Samira Khan, just meticulously break down that like this is not an Islam problem. This is we keep blowing up fucking brown kids problem. And Dave Smith put it so good of like, could you imagine if I'll try to remember his exact quote, but he's like, could you imagine if Joe Biden won the election? And because he's trying to sell this to like shit libs. He's like, imagine Joe Biden won the election and then the Russian government invades the United States, puts Donald Trump as president, and then starts blowing up like places all over Texas and all over Portland Nebraska. And everything. Yeah. It's like, what do you think would happen? And I think he put it great. Is like, what do you think the right-wing militias would do? Don't you think they would say, you know, Jesus Christ save my soul before like blowing up a Russian convoy or something like that? It's like, yeah. So, and then you're going to turn around and be like, oh yeah, this is all because of Christianity. Like, no, like that's not what's going on here. Like, what the fuck do you mean?
The liberals would help them. The liberals would totally be narcs for the opposing.
True.
They'd be selling all of us out. They don't wear masks.
You can't apply that logic though, because that actually makes sense. And I mean that's not the world that we live in. You guys know that. But I mean, look, dude, Tulsi's it was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And for so many reasons. But the number one biggest being that regime change war that she said 4 billion times on the campaign trail. That's a brand marketing slogan. All wars are regime change wars. She was talking about the ones where she knew and couldn't, and actually like could and did allude to a number of times out loud, say, I am opposed to these wars because we're funding the fucking terrorists. And that's her problem with Syria. That was her problem, I at least in like Yemen. You know, and there are a couple other Middle East skirmishes that she's taken issue with. But the war on terror, the war on an idea, she's still all for that. She's still for drone strikes as long as they make sense. As long as whoever is providing the intelligence is deemed reasonably accurate by the drone strike operator or by their commanding officer. Then she's okay with drone strikes. So she's okay with war. She's okay with drone strikes. All wars are regime change wars. All of them.
And like I said, it rings particularly hollow, seeing the fact that she just came back from a regime change war. She was deployed to do a regime change war. And it's like, dude, I hang out with a lot of military people. I get it, like honor to the country, whatever, your service, you signed up. But if you just ran for presidency on end regime change wars and you get deployed to a regime change war, I would expect, for you to suddenly convert to a Quaker or something and drop out of the military, if that's really your principles. But I mean, like, I don't want to be too hard on her, but on 9/11, like coming out with that, be like, oh, it's all because of radical Islam. It's like, okay, a lot of the people we're fighting in Africa aren't even Muslim. A lot of them have either like non-religious or traditional kind of African beliefs, and then obviously you have Boko Haram, which is Muslim or whatever. But like, that's not what's going on here. So for her to say that on 9/11, it kind of just goes to show, Dave Smith, again, he put it perfectly of like, this is our one leading prominent figure in the anti-war movement. And they're kind of like, well, most of the wars are okay. And it's like,
But do you think that she stood out as like the anti-imperialist candidate so well because she was like standing next to such pure shit?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Bernie sounded so like edgy, and it's not that he's edgy. He's literally like regurgitating Eugene Debs' speeches. It's not edgy at all, but it sounded so edgy because of what he was standing next to.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of. I mean, that's the same thing you could say about Trump. Is Trump was not nearly as anti-imperialist as people think he was, but just the fact that he was on stage with fucking Bush,
Marco
and,
Rubio.
and Rubio,
Marco
it's like,
Rubio. Yeah.
know.
So I think that's a hard thing. It's like going to somewhere where everybody's really ugly and you feel like a supermodel. That happens. So maybe that's why she came across so anti-imperialist. And now that it's her own message and it's not some campaign thing, we can see more of what she's really about.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing of just, the lesser of two evils until eventually you're voting between Hitler and Satan. Like, that's where we're at. It's like the DNC, the best person, for the DNC, the best anti-war person we had was someone who still wanted to bomb brown people all across the world with drone strikes. And in the RNC, the best person we had was Donald Trump, which speaks to itself. We don't even have to go into that any deeper than that, so it's like, that's where we're at. So how much further down can we kind of go with this? And, there isn't, you have people like Thomas Massey, you have people like Rand Paul occasionally. He's not even great on it all the time, but occasionally. And then you have Tulsi, and that's really it.
I thought Justin Amash was really good. I liked a lot of what he did and said.
Yeah,
but he's no longer in office, but I did like him.
Well, I mean, we just mentioned the names of all of the people who wrote and co-sponsored the legislation that would have drastically rewritten the Espionage Act, pardoned Julian Assange, pardoned Edward Snowden. It would have prevented Daniel Hale from going to prison, and two of those people are no longer in office. And I mean, I'm not going to say that like Tulsi isn't more effective on locals than she was in Congress. Maybe she will be. Maybe she will. I don't know. And Marie, before I continue, I do want to thank you because it's fucking brutal being the only beauty queen on these panels every fucking time. So thank you. I appreciate that. I'm gonna send you a tiara. I do appreciate you.
But yeah, and then even with Massey's like fucking hated by everybody. Like Donald Trump like threatened this dude's life borderline for not voting for the CARES Act and like everything. And that's it, really. So like you have like one super minor person from Kentucky, and that's who we have in government that are anti-war. That's it.
Massey is one of those people that is like still pretty pro-empire and like kind of like Ayn Rand, like objectivist mindset, where it's not going to, I don't know, man. That shit doesn't translate. It doesn't.
No, yeah. So that's where we're at. Like that's the only tools we have in government, which is why I'm so frustrated with people, and why like a big message at the event was this nobody's coming to save you. Like we don't have any fighters here. We don't have anyone in our corner. We don't have anyone backing us up, and the few people that are either iffy or they're borderline politically irrelevant. Like Massey is politically irrelevant. Like that's it.
I would suggest that those people are there not to be the one sane voice in the political wilderness, but to help establish the allowable parameters of conversation and dissent, and that in no way, shape, or form are these fucking people our friends. In no way, shape, or form are they fighting for us, and that the solution is not government. The solution is anarchy. The solution is parallel structures in societies. The solution is counter economics to break central banks and starve them of the things that they need, which is our tax money that they steal and our labor that they also steal. That's what I'm going to be screaming about until they take me away.
Right, and that's why I love the things that Kokesh does with like literally sending people out in front of recruitment centers and just handing out pamphlets and being like, "Don't join the military," like little things like that. And obviously, I got into a whole. We're okay after this. We're gonna get onto the events because I do want to cover what happened at the events and then what happened afterwards. But there was even people in the LP that like came after me, whatever. and we're like, oh, like what you're doing is so dumb and everything. Like you're trying to preach political things. You're trying to get a political union. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to build like a coalition of people outside of politics. Like I don't ever want anyone to run for office underneath this. I don't want End the Damn Wars to be sponsoring politicians or anything. Like, no, I'm trying to build a group of people separate to government, separate to the political system, separate outside of these political ideologies, which is crazy to these people that only view the world that way and they don't get it, which is why it's been such a clusterfuck. But so for the events, background. So I'm gonna run real quick to everything that went wrong beforehand, because a lot went wrong beforehand. Kimber, my other co-organizer, had her flight. She missed her flight, so she didn't make it out in time. Then my flight, they had to reroute it a couple days before I even got on the plane and dumped me off all the way in fucking Maryland. And I had to take an Uber for an hour to get to the apartment. That was fun. And then after that, our button maker broke, our vinyl maker broke, our fucking sticker thing broke. And then we were like, okay, everything's going to hell. And then Misty was supposed to be there, and Misty's entire life lit on fire for that week. And that's a whole nother story. And then Nico's, they canceled his flight and then canceled all flights from Florida to DC for like the next day and a half. So he couldn't even make it. Marie got into a fucking car accident coming from the airport in her Uber. And then to top it all off, we were supposed to have a PA system. And we had this all set up, whatever. We had already given them $800. And literally 30 minutes before we were supposed to pick it up, which was 30 minutes before they closed, they called us and said, we need a $4,000 deposit for a wooden podium, some small speakers, and a microphone. They wanted a $4,000 deposit. So we didn't have any of that. So that's everything that just went to fucking hell before the event. Then we get to the park, and DC Park Service told us that we would be the only event in John Marshall Park. There'd be nobody else there at all. Well, fun story. They decided to put a Hispanic music festival at the front of the park and point the stage directly at our stage. So the entire time that we had speakers and we were organizing, there was just reggaeton music blasting to the point where you could barely hear yourself think sometimes. And it seems like you could back me up on this, Marie. Did it not seem like they increased the volume when our speakers started talking?
There's actually videos that show it. It's really funny. Like somebody's talking and all of a sudden that music would just start blasting way louder. And then it would calm down. Like when we would have like a gap or something, all of a sudden it's totally calm. Then we introduce a speaker and then it's like, boom.
Yeah, just boom,
Yeah.
reggaeton music just bumping. So that happened. And then we can get into, I'm going to share my screen here. Boop. We can get into actually some of the videos once I scroll all the way down. So then like that was all the clusterfucks. That was everything that went wrong. But then some good things started happening. So let me try to find it here. I don't know how far I'm going to have to scroll. Womp, 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 womp. But then, where is she at? God damn it. Wait, what's this? Oh, that was
the next day that cut.
Yeah, it was Code
Pentagon
Pink.
thing.
Sorry, guys, I'm so unprofessional. But there's Max. So, okay, I'm starting to get where these things are. So then, like, we're literally standing there, right? And Medea Benjamin just walks up. So and it's funny because someone told her that there was a white supremacist rally going on in the park.
She said, when she walked up, I was like, wow, it's so good to see you here. I'm so glad you made it. And she said, well, I'm not here for the event. I just want to know what's going on. And I was like, oh, okay, well, come on in, meet everybody, blah, blah, blah. And then she was like, well, what is going on? I heard there's a white nationalist hosting this. And I was like, no. And then I told her a little bit about you, not much, but I was like, why don't you meet him so that you know? Like, I think it's better for you to meet him. Meet him, talk to him. Why don't you talk to the other people and see what you think? And then she talked to you, and then all of a sudden she was like the first speaker. I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
wow.
she's like, it's funny as this video scrolls, you got Garland Nixon, you got Olivia Rondeau, you got Ford Fisher, like the whole cast and crew. But yeah, it's funny because I jumped up and I was like, I didn't want to walk up and talk to her because I don't know, like, I don't like ambushing people. But you ran up to me and you're like, Medea's here, come talk to her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And I walked up to her like Steve's met me in person and Maria knows me. Marie's met me in person. I'm way more flamboyant and obnoxious in person. So like I literally walked up, I'm like, hi, nice to meet you. she seemed to like be taken back by it because I'm assuming she just heard the whole thing that I'm some evil spooky Nazi when in reality I'm like this obnoxious flamboyant queer. And I was like, welcome to our event, it's so happy to see you here, blah blah blah. And she's like, yeah, I'll speak. So fucking Medea went on. That was like,
she was the very first speaker of the day. That was pretty exciting.
Yeah, and for people
that, kids, if you need to convince Medea Benjamin that you are not a white nationalist, mince it up.
Yeah. Get real Boys Town.
Dishy with it.
Get real Boys Town about it. But that was, and again, like I'm a big fan of Code Pink. I love the fact that they're, like pretty much the only major organization, them with like Vets for Peace or whatever, that have tried to do fucking anything over the last 15 years at all. I mean, they're smaller and they get marginalized and ignored and whatever, but at least they try to do stuff. So infinite respect. I was super happy.
Can I say something real quick?
Of course.
Code Pink has been around for many years. It's very well funded. We know that. They have a backing all over the world. So your event that you guys planned in a Airbnb and then in a couple months threw it together, there was 105 people that came. Not to mention this massive amount of speakers that were like, whoa, holy shit, this is big. Speakers that came and spoke at your event. The next day was the Code Pink event that had a lot more media around it. There was a lot more going on. And there was about 25 people.
I'd say like 25 to 40 ish.
Yeah, I mean, but we were like at least 15 of that. So
yeah.
I mean, like it was our group there, but it wasn't. And that was a very well funded group that does actions all the time. So I think that's says a lot about what you did.
Yeah, and like again, that's not Code Pink's fault. That's
no,
just I just think that like Code Pink is a very, very left-wing organization. And the fact that a bunch of lefties didn't show up to their event, that says more about the lefties than it says about Code Pink, to where I tried to have a unity.
Maybe that's something that you guys could collaborate on, because you really did have like a big libertarian. You had all people there, but the libertarian base was definitely strong.
Yeah, I mean, you had a bunch of anarchists there. You had Scott Horton and some LP people there.
Scott Horton is the one that called Max Blumenthal.
Yeah, and that's funny is like Scott and Medea and everybody have a positive relationship behind the scenes, and Scott Horton is the founder of the Libertarian Institute. Okay, so it does not get much more libertarian than Scott Horton. Okay, like
and antiwar.com.
Yeah, right. he's a lead editor for antiwar.com. So it's like,
right. So you
think that I was saying to Adam on Saturday that in the last like 5 years, the anti-war movement has gone from the like liberal left progressive sphere almost entirely to anarchists, and not just libertarians, but more or less specifically the Mises Caucus libertarians.
Yeah, and then obviously you have the scattering of like obviously the Assange people and everything, but in terms of the body of the movement, that's where it's at. And I do think it's just because a lot of these talking heads and media people and whatever don't really talk about war and don't really promote like anti-war things, and like that, that was the whole thing. I was kind of mad that there wasn't a lot of people at the Code Pink event, because I was like, all of these people, which we'll get to in a little bit, all these people writing smear articles about me and doxing my friends and having a fucking panic attack that we had an anti-war event. None of them retweeted Code Pink. None of them promoted their event. None of them showed up to Code Pink's event. And Code Pink's event was planned for a while. Why? That's your people. They're doing great work. It's a good organization. Why aren't you promoting them? And I got mad about it. I'm like, you should be at this event. You should be at the Code Pink event.
Right.
You should be sharing their Patreon. You should be blasting out all their graphics and all their infos. And you should be telling people to come out here. And you should be running marches. Why is it me? Like what the fuck?
This group that is supposedly on the ground, grassroots, whatever they are. I don't even know. I think they're just full of shit with Twitter accounts personally. But this group is like posting these pictures and saying all these things and claiming that you guys are these extremists that came to town to have a war and to like kill people and you're violent and whatever. And then they called me a boog and they threatened to kick my ass. I'm like, so who's the fucking violent one? Like, you're going to threaten a mom from Florida that like you're going to kick my ass?
And again, like we had people from Fred Hampton leftists there. We had people like there was a Communist Party USA dude walking around. You had Garland Nixon. You had, fucking like all the Assange people that are part of the Green Party and everything like that. You had the libertarians there. You had Olivia Rondell, who's like a more traditional conservative. So like literally everybody. But these motherfuckers.
Yeah. And
these motherfuckers are the only ones that aren't represented, but literally everyone else.
Along. Everybody was having conversations with each other. You saw groups that would not mix, like people that would not mix. And they were talking and having great conversations. And I think that's very important.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And then, just to continue through the event, I spoke, Scott spoke. We kind of went through all of the speakers. Obviously, Nico and Misty and everybody couldn't be there. Andrew fucking tore the house down. That man is such an animal all the time. That's all he does, is to tear the fucking house down. I don't know how he still has a voice. He didn't have a voice the next day. He sounded like Batman. But yeah, he tore down the place. And then Scott comes running up to me. And for anyone who doesn't know, Scott's like a shorter like skater dude, which is a lot of people, even Olivia told me, he's like, I thought he'd be like tall and imposing. And he's like, no, he just got like, he's actually really cool and like chill. But he runs up to me. He's like, Max Blumenthal's here. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, he's going to be here in a bit. And then he texted me that he wasn't coming. Then he texted me that he was coming again. Then he texted me that he wasn't coming again. Then finally he's like, he's here. And everybody was like talking to him or whatever. And I'm like, well, fuck, I didn't plan on having Max be here. And at that point we had already called that we're about to march. And then, Max just shows up. And he, like I said, he tore the fucking house down. I don't think audio comes through here. It might. We're gonna see if it does.
Where is our plan? Where is our plan to stand up for civil liberties? Where is our plan to oppose presidential power when a Democratic president is behaving more fascist than perhaps Donald Trump ever did?
I don't know if that's coming through.
Did you hit the share audio part?
Probably not.
So when you hit share screen, you have to hit share audio in the lower left-hand corner, or else it doesn't play through.
Let's try this real quick. Sorry, guys. I'm peak professionalism here. Share screen. Boop. Share audio. System audio. There we go. Boop. Okay. Boom. We're in here. All right. We'll try this again. Let me see if you hear this now.
Where is our plan? Where is our plan to stand up for civil liberties? Where is our plan to oppose presidential power when a Democratic president is behaving more fascist than perhaps Donald Trump ever did? Where is our plan? Our plan starts today. And what we need to recognize with our plan is that people who have opposed these wars, people who are opposing this catastrophic new normal, have less in common politically in many cases than people who are hypnotized by the mainstream network.
And again, this little image right here is so hilarious to me. If you guys can see this, so you have
Nick Brana.
Yeah, you have Nick Brana from the MPP. You have a black boog. You have Paula. You have Olivia Rondell, who's a conservative, and all of them are in the same picture. And this is
Tim.
Just, yeah, and then Mr. Tegan, Timothy the terrorist Tegan, who was infamously pictured during the impeachment of Donald Trump. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, this is literally like you have just this weird splattering of everybody, and this is the whole point. And this is what I love. I'll press play again. I just haven't watched this video yet, so I'm like, wow, there's Nick Brana sitting next to a black boogaloo.
So you have libertarians, You have leftists, you have socialists, communists, anarchists, whoever. They may have less in common, but they get that something really wrong is happening. And what we need to do is unite against the common foe. Unite against the global predator class that is receiving new powers now. And we need to have unifying messages together. We can't be allowing ourselves to be divided when there are so many people hypnotized by this narrative and so many people in power who have unprecedented means at their disposal to crush us. So thank you for being out here today. Thank you for staying united. I really love the message. End the damn wars. That's all we need to say right now because the war has come home. This is a class war on the people here. So let's keep fighting. Thank you.
Yeah, but there's Scott. You got Scott Horton, Garland Nixon. Like I said, it's just this crazy little gaggle.
A lot of the crowd had already left because we had a long gap in between speakers because we were waiting for the traffic situation because they shut down the roads.
Yeah, that was a whole crazy thing. So yeah, that was, our little event there, and then we started marching, and I want to see if I had Ford Fisher on here. There's a bunch of cute pictures from everybody there, but we can just go through this. Here's LA. This is the one that Pasta and Fee were at. This was a little smaller, but
No, Pasta and Jones were at that one. Fee was up at ours.
Yeah, you're right. And then they had Denver, which I haven't talked to anybody from Denver either, but apparently Denver went really well. And then Arizona, Arizona is such a giant win for me because if you look at this picture, you will see that you have the Arizona Libertarian Party, a election advocacy group that does ranked choice voting and election integrity, and then the Arizona Green Party, all under the same tent. And just like Steve said, it was a really hot day that day. It was 108 degrees in Arizona. And you had all of these people out here. They said the total turnout was about 150 people. Wow. At the end of the day, which was even bigger than the main event, which was spectacular. But this image just encapsulates like everything I was trying to do, the whole message. And according to Lauren, the woman who co-organized this, this was the first time that the Green Party and the Libertarian Party had spoken to each other since 2007. So like, yes, yes, great. This is what it's all about. This is the whole point of everything. And again, like, she's in the chat here too, but like you have one of the state chairs of the Arizona Green Party and all the Greens, ranked choice voting, and the LP all in one place. So that's beautiful. But then, yeah, we can get to when we actually started marching.
Damn wars! No more! Damn wars!
But here's Steve, you like this part of you know how much I love screaming "fuck the CIA" and "fuck the FBI" at FBI headquarters.
But we had a police escort for this.
Yeah. No, I think we did last time too.
Yep. But then, yeah, we had we obviously had the truck, homeboy with the truck, always spectacular. He's just a treasure.
Shouts to James.
And then that's Cuddy the Pentagon. We had this guy. He was the one in the boat. I have no idea who this dude is. He just showed up.
I love him.
This is the next day. This dude's a fucking legend.
So the day that he came for ours, he brought the peace boat. And then the next day, he came as like a fork and a spoon and a knife to cut the Pentagon and eat it.
Yep.
Nice.
I could scroll up to that. That's right up here. I think that's the last thing that was posted. Forever scrolling. But yeah. And then Unicorn Daddy showed up dressed as George Washington while wearing assless chaps because that's what he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was spectacular.
So he drove all the way from Florida.
Yep.
That other couple drove all the way from there's Black in the Empire.
Yeah, Black in the Empire. He's even more cool. Yeah, he's even more cool in person. That is a chill ass motherfucker. I love that dude.
But people came from so far. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Yep, and then we have
I think that's great.
We have Paula from People's Party there.
Paula Jean, which also Paula Jean, this was a beautiful healing thing because Paula Jean and the Assange crew really had like tension with each other.
Unblock me, Paula Jean.
Okay, we'll talk to her about it because actually she sat
Unblock
down
Misty,
like,
Paula Jean. Unblock
her-
Lori Jones, Paula Jean.
She said you would.
Yeah, her and Andrew and Kimber sat down for like an hour and talked about everything. And it was amazing. And they all like, you know, talked about doing more events together, everything. Yeah. That was amazing.
And MPP showed up in Oregon and Denver too. So like they showed up almost more than anybody, and they actually like tweeted it out and everything. It was beautiful. I'm real props to them. Like I haven't interacted with anybody from MPP. The only person I know was Mari from California, and she was super cool. But just meeting a lot of them and talking to them, and then in Oregon, I might be able to pull the picture up, but someone from the LP walked up and someone from People's Party walked up, and they were both wearing the same Assange shirt. And then they sat there and talked about like ending the Fed and everything for like an hour or something. It was just beautiful stuff like that. But here's the thing I keep bringing up because this is so funny. And let's see if I can full screen this.
Happy wedding day! Happy wedding day! Happy wedding day! Happy wedding day!
And we literally plan on making shirts now that has like a silhouette of a bride and a groom, and that just says "Happy Wedding Day." Fuck the CIA. But yeah, so that, and then I guess, you know, to finish our story off, so we got to the Lafayette Park right in front of the White House, and they closed the park down as soon as we walked up. They put green like chains up over the park and said no one can go into the park. As soon as we walked up, we had permits to be in that park. Literally, like there's a picture of me sitting there like arguing with a Secret Service agent because we had permits to be in the park, but they said we couldn't go in the park. And then literally the moment that I got on the megaphone, I'm like, okay, guys, we were going to yell at the White House, but they closed the park, blah, blah, blah. We're calling it here. Thank you for being here. They opened the park back up again. It's like, I see what's going on here. But yeah, and then we called it from there. But tell me a little, now that I finished up our thing, before I go on to what happened afterwards, Steve, if you want to kind of fill us in on the LA event and anything that happened or anything you've left out.
Sacramento. But
sorry, all of California is the same, don't you know?
I got to tell Angela that that I was listening to her and you as I was on my way moving to my off-grid mountain locale in California, and the conversation you had like right before the fucking cell phone reception dropped off and cut out was that, yeah, everybody I know in California is all black belt, just like opting, getting off grid, fucking getting out of shit. I'm like, God damn it.
It's true. Everyone in California is literally running to the hills.
I feel personally attacked. But we're going to be set up when everyone who wasn't able to get out of a major city ahead of time needs somewhere to go. So you need guys like me.
Of course.
You do. But no, it was a like truly positive event. And I think like what kind of happened as Adam and Angela and Ben rolled in and started talking was that, well, okay, we have this like in the damn wars thing, and we were all fired up to scream about 20 years in Afghanistan. The Biden administration sort of pulled that out from under our feet. So we're supposed to be like celebrating something. So let me celebrate the idea of this being the last generation of combat veterans. And so that was a theme that was like picked up with early with the opening music and carried throughout the day. Again, tying the global war on terror to the war on COVID. That was a running theme. And then also this idea that well, the left that we described and that submissive void in the middle, and let's be generous and call them demons pushing this narrative. The fear that they're putting out, the fear that it takes for the kind of mass delusion that we're experiencing to occur, to where people are running around like shedding all of their best interests in order to pick up what appears to be safety or what appears to be security. That delusion, the fear that it takes to that, the only thing that you can combat that with is in fact love. So that was an overarching theme as well. And you know what, man? I mean, dude, we talk about a lot of dark shit. We do. And the jokes that we make are just savage, you know. But at no point are we out here wishing death or wishing harm or like trying to prevent anyone from making a living or any of that shit. We, except for like, you know, Halliburton, Northrop Grumman, Chile, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, those are the actual murderers.
But I mean, you know what I mean. And so like the idea that what we're doing, the whole concept of unity, the whole concept of end the damn wars, the whole concept of like organizing, not politically, but because there's an issue that has to be addressed now before politics can happen. That has to be led with love, and I think it is. I really do. Well, you go to these things, you fucking feel it.
Yeah, I mean there was no debates, and I'm like, I was always worried from the beginning because we had a very large suite of speakers from all across the political spectrum, that somebody would get on stage and be like, this socialist regime is bombing all over the world, and then like someone from the left would come on and be like, this is why capitalism is awful and blah blah blah, and it's the fucking right wingers. None of that happened. No one swung at anyone else. They just accurately identified the problem, which is the establishment, which is the people in power, this post-political, almost apolitical fucking parasite that is attached itself to his country, that will call itself whatever they want. Joe Biden calls himself a progressive. Fucking George W. Bush Jr. called himself a small government Republican. Like, you know, they'll call themselves whatever they want to call. You know, they'll happily say, yeah, America is a communist socialist state, and then continue doing what they're doing anyways. They don't give a shit. The labels don't mean anything to them. You know, and everyone accurately identified that, and that made me really happy. But what were you gonna say, Marie?
I think that in this situation that everybody had like a common cause, and I think that is so important because, like, when you look at situations like gang violence, for example, when you look at gang violence, when it's like Crips versus Bloods or whatever the hell it was, like, you know, I'm old. Back in those days was my time. Anyway, so when you look at that, people don't just like wake up one day like, oh, I'm just going to go be in a fucking gang. It's a lifestyle thing because there's desperate people do desperate things. And this environment that we have that is not healthy for anyone. This environment's not healthy for anyone. The way that our government is, the way that people are just crushed on a daily basis. And so people end up in things just because that's what their safety net is. So I bet you that if we started coming together a lot more, we would be able to eliminate a lot of the extremist stuff. Because what I saw with the group that I met of the Boogs, to me, I love them. They were all very nice. They all seemed very young and very determined. They all there was this camaraderie about them that I will tell you that you will not find at a DSA meeting.
Yeah, it's because we've all been through hell. Most of us.
Everybody feeds each other. Everybody makes sure, like, oh, you need a cigarette, you need this, you need that. Like, it was really, really beautiful to see.
Yeah, because me and my friends have been through hell, and that that's something we can move on to the after event because Steve has seen this and Marie has seen this. Boy, did this fucking event break the goddamn internet. But really quick before I do that, I did want to mention I'm gonna pull it up. You guys yell at me if this doesn't show up on the screen, but boop. Okay, is this showing the pictures and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. This was London, which I didn't even know there wasn't a London event, and they had 30 people out there, and they made their own signs and everything. And I'm just that's just, yeah. So it was an international event. I think this was Florida. Yeah, this was Florida. Sweet. This was Vegas. That's Arizona. This right here. Where's he at? I think that's the picture. That's the DSA guy right there. Well, not the DSA, the MPP guy. That was in Oregon. And then I forget where this one is. I think this might have been Florida as well. Yeah, just
probably because Florida never stays on theme.
Right.
They have their own signs.
And I have a bunch of pictures from everywhere else, but I do want to get into afterwards. So we can get into the bitching part, but just to lay down the details, Status Coup has declared fucking war on me effectively and has thrown a fit. Code Pink got attacked. People's Party got attacked. I got doxxed before this, and my mom got doxxed before this, but now they doxed the New York organizer. They doxed Kitty, my anti-fascist friend that you met, Marie, there. They doxed her, and it's just all-out war on anyone who dared to have anything to fucking do with this. And I don't know if you want to weigh in on. I know you kind of went off on fucking Sky's show a little bit about it, Steve, but if you just want to go into the people, really the people that don't do anything, getting really fucking mad at people doing things.
I've said this before, and I can't stress this enough. I know you guys. I joke around a lot. I try, I deal with the world that I live in by processing it through a humorous lens. I mean this in all sincerity. The left has been captured entirely by little dick energy and a complete unwillingness to do a goddamn bit of work for anything other than establishment scraps. And that is not going to change anytime soon. That's the lane that they're in. They're comfortable in it. They're pushing totalitarianism like it's fucking Medicare for all.
Which they don't push. Which they don't push.
Which they know, which they don't even fucking push anymore. You got AOC out there with the fucking, hey, let's get access to Medicare to Medicaid with this Build Back Better Act that fucking I'm quote tweeting Joe Biden about, where he's saying tax the rich 24 hours before I show up at the Met in a tax the rich dress.
Which by the way,
same font and branding as my 2020 campaign fucking merch. That fucking people looked at me like I was goddamn retarded when I was like, hey, you know that's her branding, right? You know that this was the you don't remember that really? Because I do. And I smoke a lot of weed.
See the picture? It says a movement you can wear, and it's the Tax the Rich collection. It's a fucking TJ Maxx ad. The Tax the Rich collection, a movement you can wear.
Oh my God, that's so annoying. And which, by the way, the actual left, what's left of them, what's around, we're outside the Met Gala, getting their fucking heads caved in by riot police.
I'm sending you this picture, so you have it.
And a lot of people showed it, like videos and stuff of it, and the actual left-wing protesters we're sitting there being like, none of these fucking people care about you. AOC don't fucking care about you. The president doesn't care about you, while they're getting arrested and fucking tear gassed and beaten shit. And the media didn't touch that with a 20-foot pole. TYT didn't talk about that. All these people did not talk about these activists outside getting fucking arrested and beat up for daring to protest the Capitol Gala. What did someone put it? The Illuminati fucking prom. I think someone put it. The Illuminati prom going on. How dare these BLM activists fucking sour our event? And they just sent the NYPD after it. And
But
AOC,
now they're trying to pretend like because she wore this stupid dress that now all the people in the world that never heard of tax the rich suddenly heard of it, even though this proposal that they have on the table is to the right of Reagan. It makes Reagan look like an extreme, like, communist or something. If you look at Reagan's tax plan versus this tax plan, it's absurd.
yeah, it's nobody reads bills though. That's my thing. That's why I love Sky so much, because she has her daily fucking rant where she's like, read the bill, because nobody does this shit anymore.
And this is one thing that I did say to Sky, that I want everybody to be perfectly fucking aware of. When it says tax the rich, when the bill says tax the rich, they're not talking about their rich friends at all. The real rich in this country, they don't pay taxes at all. They've got loopholes, they've got offshore shit, they've got, a marginal tax rate on some business shit at 11.5% that they have to pay. But other than that, it's fucking negligible.
Not if their business is in Florida, which is why all the corruption happens. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And there's a bunch of ways that they can get around that too. My point is, when they're saying tax the rich, the quote unquote rich they're talking about are what's left of our small and medium business owners. These are the people who employ 100 employees or less. Coincidentally, the number of people that are under the radar for Joe Biden's mandate. However, because this mandate is going to go through OSHA, if you want a business that operates legally, vaccines and boosters are going to be routed through OSHA. Making it a
that's the thing.
Safety issue, not a health issue, a workplace safety issue.
And that's the whole thing too, with people not reading the bills. The infrastructure bill had barely anything to do with infrastructure. It was a bunch of bullshit and kickbacks and fucking everything. We did not end the war in Afghanistan. We are moving to drone strikes and fucking private contractors and CIA operations. We're not taxing the rich. We're not doing anything. I do not understand how people did not learn from the Patriot Act. They don't do what they're telling you they're going to do. Period. It's always bullshit. And again, the whole, it's wild to me. Even the Met Gala thing is wild to me because we all, we're aware of this because we're in the know. But there was a coup in is it Ghana or Guinea? Because I always fuck it up. Guinea. Ghana, right? Or Guinea. Okay. Yeah, there was a coup in Africa. And there was video of and there was video of U.S. Special Forces in cars with the crowd screaming USA as they were driving out of the fucking president's mansion. Tulsi Gabbard participated in that. Who's talking about that? All these anti-imperialist voices, all of these big mainstream, thousands of fucking followers on Patreon, shit tons of money, millions of subs on YouTube, anti-imperialism, white supremacy. We just fucking overthrew a sovereign African country with it, and no one's talking about that. They just did the whole thing where the Joe Biden sent the IRS after any transaction over $600. Nobody's talking about.
By the way, that's per year. So that means if you pay more than $600 a year in rent out of your bank account, you are now a suspect to the United States government.
Yes, it's nobody's talking about any of these things. And that's the whole, that's the big thing behind the end of the damn wars thing, is even if it's just causing these shit libs to fucking scream and piss and shit themselves that we dared do this, at least people are talking about war for a minute.
Yeah.
Because they just don't.
Black lives only matter if they're a registered Democrat.
Mm-hmm. That's the whole thing is I just sent the pictures of just everybody that was there, because somebody said, oh, it's all white people. And I sent all the pictures of people that weren't white, and they're like, oh, you have a black friend. And I'm like, you fucking disingenuous scumbags. It wouldn't matter if it was 99% like Nigerian super black fucking people there. You would put the camera on the one white dude and call it a Klan rally. You are not genuine. I don't take you seriously. And a lot of people, which I'm grateful for, because it seems to be what I'm best at right now, is making these people fall on their own fucking swords and expose themselves as clowns over and over and over again.
It is all these people that say that they're grassroots and all that, and saying, "Oh, you're not welcome in my city." Fuck you.
These aren't serious people. These aren't serious people, and most of these people are only online, and they've got some shit drone job somewhere, or they've got no job somewhere. And they're begging for UBI, and they're begging for a nanny state, and they're begging for, somebody else to take care of all their problems and somebody else to blame for everything that's going wrong in their life, because they have no fucking life skills whatsoever. But they've got venom, and they've learned how to like wield snark in a way that is, at least like can be destructive in terms of fundraising, can be destructive in terms of getting your message out, can be destructive in terms of getting people to come or speak at your events. So their weaponized bitterness is effective as a propaganda tool online. And so that's positive reinforcement. A lot of these people do get a check. It's a lot of these people volunteer it, but there are a lot of people who will get paid to dox your friends and then go give that information that it's going down, or go give that information that
my fucking mother, an 18-year-old kid out of New York, fucking Kitty, who's been an anti-fascist activist for longer than some of these people have been fucking alive. Like she protested when Richard Spencer came to Michigan that long ago. She ran the fucking Michigan BLM page for years while most of these kids were still in fucking high school. And they Status Quo doxed her. They put her shit on the entire fucking internet. A mom and an anti-fascist activist. But God forbid she fucking hang out with me or she talk to me. You're not allowed. Doesn't matter if she's gotten fucking arrested and tear gassed and beat up by fucking Proud Boys and right wingers more than they'll ever dream in their LARPy fucking nightmare of ever doing. Fuck her, because she did the wrong thing.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, Status Quo, yeah, dude, they can do some damage. I'm probably gonna lose internet here. Status Quo can do some short-term damage, but I mean, all they're doing is reinforcing what the state wants out of the quote-unquote left. It's the only thing that they're good for. It's the only thing they're ever going to be good for. So as soon as you can the sooner people can recognize that, the better.
That's the whole thing. Like your thing about them wanting someone to save them. Obviously, the conservatives aren't as vitriolic. They don't attack people and cancel people and fucking dox people like the shitty left on the internet does. But you just saw with the whole Gavin Newsom recall, like, oh, wow, y'all put your chips in an election again and then got disappointed in an election again because you keep waiting for someone to save you. And then
I love these guys that are so revolutionary, and they're the ones that are telling you you're not real left. You don't qualify as a leftist. Mm-hmm. This is what you got to do to be a leftist. Now go vote no and save Gavin Newsom's job right now.
Right.
What
yeah.
And
then you had the right that thought electing fucking Elder would save all of their life, and you have the right putting all their chips on fucking DeSantis. Like Daddy DeSantis is going to save me. It's like none of these people are going to save you. None of these people are going to save you. You're going to have to do shit. You are going to have to fucking do something. You can't.
It's true,
wait.
but DeSantis knows his base enough to know not to make us wear masks and shit.
Yeah,
So it's good.
That's his
I know a
political
number.
gamble.
I'm in a couple of different California based Freedom Cell and anti-mandate groups and stuff like that. And the last 3 weeks, nothing but recall nonsense. And I'm like, you guys, you're putting your hope behind a politician who's going to be deadlocked and impotent in an all Democratic legislature, and all you're going to do is scream about the damn liberals in Congress and how Larry Elder could be turning this state around if it weren't for them. And that's how you're going to spend the next, what, 2 years?
Yeah.
3, 4 years. That's how you're going to spend all your, when you know the whole last reason you have this group in the first place is because there's fucking medical tyranny being implemented globally, and you know about that, and you were trying to organize some community to at least fucking like secure yourself, your family, your community, and have like a shot at resisting this, and you drop all of that for fucking what? My Pillow with a tan? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's preposterous to me. And again, people are like, what do we do? What do we do? And every time us little people get together and organize something like this event or like the Assange events or everything, people cheer it on. They're like, that's so awesome. And they're like, you should do it too. And they're like, okay. And then more people do it. And then I go to the big content fucking people. I go to like the Dave Smiths, I go to the Clints and everything like that. And I'm like, look, fucking, what was it? Like 500 people in New York shut down like the Brooklyn Bridge having an anti-mandate protest. And those are like, that's New York. Okay. These aren't fucking yeehaw, goddamn American flag waving fucking blood and country conservatives. Okay. This is New York. They did that. So if you got off your ass, and all of these big content creators to just change their message. And they're like, hey, I'm doing an event here. Show up. And Dave Smith had an event. And Jimmy Dore had an event. And fucking Max Blumenthal had an event. And they just did nothing but organize. And they used their money and their platform to do nothing but promote events and show up to events. Organizing, reaching out to people. Like, it was kind of the praxis for the last 4 years in the Trump era on all sides of the political spectrum of, oh, well, we need to beat the censorship by spreading good ideas. We need to talk more. We need to run more podcasts, which is kind of ironic, but, and we need to share more information. We need to have tough conversations and blah, blah, blah. And maybe that was right for that time, but it's like, okay, we've done all that for like, since like the Luke Rakowski fucking days, since like Occupy, we've done that. I feel like we've almost hit the level of everyone who needs to know what the fuck is going on kind of knows what the fuck is going on. So now we need to start doing things with that. And everyone else is still stuck on the fucking talk about it. And it's like,
I did and have been encouraging others to do. And here's what I kind of like. Derek Bros is on tour right now. I think that there's while we can still travel, if we can, we should get together a couple of like, I don't know, organizational summits where like all of the colors of the black flag and the people who are genuinely interested in liberty like meet for a fucking weekend and do that.
I was telling these guys, so I travel a lot for work. I'm like city to city, state to state. I know like different things, and I know cities that like are like the weirdest places to know. But one thing I was telling him that I think that an event would do really, really well is Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Yeah, not only do I fucking love it there, but the people are all about their rights. That's it. That's what they care about.
Yeah. And that's
the what?
Steve.
What did he say?
He said he heard it was the bomb.
So I I met a guy whose dad was the judge in that.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, when I was there at the bar. It's so weird. It's a fucking crazy place.
Let's not talk about the OKC bombing on on the boots.
Well, I learned some things.
Wait, hang on. Let me go put on my aviator shades and my hoodie.
And
From my
honestly,
fucking shack on Murder Mountain.
That somewhere like that is a good place because it's central also. So you can get people from several states and it's not so difficult as going all the way to like Washington, D.C.
Right.
Also, everybody that comes, like I'm still getting fucking alerts on my phone for this tracking thing. Like everybody's not going to be under surveillance if they go somewhere like that.
Right. Yeah. Because DC is a fucking hell.
That was a shocker to me.
Yeah. For people that don't know, as soon as you land in DC, you start getting notifications for everyone around you with COVID tracing and everything like that. Super fun. But something we did talk about and like I'm super interested in is kind of like having like a unity convention. And like inviting like tons of people and whatever, and kind of like trying to make this a big thing because we've got our foot in the door on this unity message with MPP, with people like Max, with people like Medea, with people like the Green Party. And then the LP is increasingly like interested in it. And you have all of these people, you know, even Yal like retweeted the thing and they're kind of like, you know, everyone thinks I'm fucking insane and none of my shit will ever work until it works. And they're like, maybe this is possible, which is the whole reason why I do these events is to show that this is possible. So maybe just getting these people in a fucking room together and talking to each other and humanizing each other and learning about each other. Cause you know how many like LP people reached out to me and they were like, I didn't even know what the People's Party was, but now I think they're pretty cool. You know, and then how many people that were like more lefty people that are like, I guess libertarians aren't just as much of an asshole on the internet, well, in person as they are on the internet.
Yeah,
it's like,
I heard really horrible things about libertarians. I was told some really bad things, and I'm like,
we're awful on the internet.
Now, no, but not even on the internet because now I'm following quite a few, and I like them. I'm good, but I think that this thing can work for so many things. It can work for, let's say that, the unity convention. Now we have all these shithole politicians. If we have like 5 million people in our unity convention that say, listen, you're not going to fund this budget and we're going to fight you on this budget. And that's going to put a little bit more pressure on these assholes too. If we can actually come together like that. And I don't think we need to worry about the online left people because they don't show up anywhere anyway. So it's fine.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. But we are coming up.
I just want to point out, I think I heard Dave Smith and Scott Horton say this, but like 60 million liberty-minded people under arms and we wouldn't need government.
Yeah, exactly. And that's fucking, I'm forgetting his name, but a famous what's the word I'm looking for here? Hedonistic philosopher had the great quote of what wise men, even in a world without laws, would live the same. And it's like, yeah, exactly. That's your anarchy quote of the day. But we are coming up on an hour and a half. So kind of just closing thoughts. I'm going to go Steve first and then you, Marie, on the future of the unity movement. If you thought this put a dent in it, any kind of last little things you want to add, and then we'll plug your stuff after you're done. You first, Steve.
I would say that yes, absolutely. Like we did move the unity movement forward. I would say that all of our isms have failed us, and that's not a bad thing. And it's not a bad thing because anarchy isn't an ism, it's a relationship. And if we can recognize it as a relationship, then all of our interactions going from that point are based on that relationship and not on an ism. And that is a very, very hopeful concept. SlowNewsDayShow.com. All of the online ads, Twitter, IG, Cash App, all that stuff is at Slow News Day Show, and rockfan.com/Slow News Day. Piers Robinson, Sunday, call-in show tomorrow. Get your shit together. It's the interweb's best call-in show. Fiorella Isabel from the Convo Couch will be joining us, I think.
I totally won't be calling into that and pretending not to be myself. So,
dude, I have so much. I love that show, dude. I love it so much. And I will be announcing a brand new podcast very, very soon.
Steve, how many shows do you have? You are the most podcasted man in the world. That microphone is gonna fuse to your hand, and you're just gonna like permanently.
I had to pull back from the vigil. And look, dude. So like, Glory has a class schedule that is gonna make it so that she can't do Thursday, and so I had already had a show that I wanted to do. So now instead of adding a day or adding an extra, I'm just going to use that time to do that show. And there just won't be a slow news day that day. There will be a different podcast that day. But I'm also thinking about doing like 90 minutes in the morning, 3 days a week.
God damn it, Steve.
Because look, dude, we don't really do like, it's mostly interviews now. It is. And there's so much shit that's going on, and there's so much that like people fucking like really need to wrap their heads around that they aren't missing, and there really aren't a lot of, you know, developed in their thought process anarchists that are putting out cogent messages, and I think that there's a hell of a space for that, and I've got a couple of good things to add to it. So I mean, fuck, dude, what am I gonna do? Tell you to vote?
Well, what are you do? Vote? But yeah, awesome.
Get
Everybody
a vote and a vaccine, and you're good.
Right. But yes, everyone check out all of Steve's stuff. He's great. He's great on Twitter. Spectacular man. Love this individual. Marie, closing thoughts. How do you feel about the Unity movement?
I don't have anything to promote. You can buy some weed from me. That's about it. But other than that, nothing to promote. I don't have a show or anything. I'm just really, really impressed. I met some really wonderful people. And I like genuinely from the bottom of my heart, like I want you to understand how much, like how beautiful it was to me to see you guys like that night remember when you introduced me to Spike Cohn and all that, like you guys are just so genuine and so sweet and just so good. And I just want you to remember that when these assholes are attacking you, fuck them, because you're good.
Yeah.
And it's really wonderful.
We love you, Marie. You're great. But yeah, and everybody, obviously, I mean, if you're here, you probably know who I am. But I am also, because Steve wasn't even aware. I wasn't even told him that was a do this thing. I am debating on doing a nightly show where I just go for an hour after work every single day and just fucking complain about things. I'm not sure, but I might do it. So I might become a fucking podcast junkie like Steve. You don't know. We'll see. But
bitch with Comrade Magnus.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
5 nights a week, motherfucker.
Bitch, and yours can be moan. It'll be bitch and moan right after each other, right?
Let's go. I love it. But yes, thanks everybody for tuning in. Again, thank you so much, everybody that showed up. Thank you so much, everyone that promoted it. We're working on the after movie where we're going to literally take Jordan playing her guitar, singing End the Damn Wars, and we're going to put it over just all the images and videos of people speaking and everything like that. The problem is nobody's sending me pictures. I need more people to send me pictures. This is like the weirdest event ever. I can't find any information online about shit that happened. It's so surreal. But we're going to have that out probably in like 2 weeks or so, something like that, depending on how we get all the information. And then next week, I'm going to start going back to regular kind of podcasting, regular guests, everything. I'll try to remain on point, but I might be doing a mandate protest in Michigan with a bunch of business owners. So, because I'm fucking crazy and I'm always on the street all the goddamn time, even though my house is full of mold because it flooded while I was gone and I don't have any money, but fuck it. So it's like, I'm just going to do it anyways. But yeah.
But things like that promote it so that more people can come, because maybe 10 people might show up in one city. But if there's people that can show up in one city like that, like, oh, you know what, I can go, and more people show up, it makes a bigger impact.
That's why I always tell people is that at the end of the day, we are still highly evolved chimps, and nobody wants to be the first person taking a step. But the more they see other people taking a step, they might show up. I know a lot of people were hesitant on our organization because we had just come out of fucking nowhere. Nobody knew if this was a trap. Nobody knew what the event was going to be like. But now that they've seen it, next time there'll be more open, and next time there'll be more people, and we'll just keep building and building and building, because now, like, it's not an illusion of what we're about. It's not an illusion of what we're trying to accomplish. Like, it's out there, no matter how much these fucking online troglodytes try to lie otherwise. But yep, that close it out there. Thank you everybody for watching. I'll see you next week. Check out Steve's show. Follow Marie on Twitter. Marie, what's your at?
At the Marie Fonseca.
Yeah, she's a fucking firebrand and amazing and beautiful on Twitter. And yeah, definitely see y'all kind of update when everything goes on. And until next time, stay safe and stay free.
Bye. Thank you.